Hi, I'm here today at a customer's house. 2 days ago, they called to say that their backwash valve was broken and it was leaking water. And when I got here, it was definitely very tight, non-movable. When I opened it up, the metal spring and the washer was extremely corroded. The bad thing was that valve was less than a year old when we last replaced it for them. And so I immediately got my test kit out and tested the pool water. The pool water was fine. The chemicals were well balanced. But when I did open up the valve, there was a strong odor of chlorine, and the fumes were really strong. So I closed the valve back up and I ran the pump for a little bit to try to wash the acidic water and the chlorine from the equipment area. I let it run for a good while, and then I took the valve up and I actually replaced it with this new one. But what happened was, that was 2 days ago. Yesterday he called and said that the pool was losing a lot of water again. So I came back out here today, and I don't know if you can see this very well, but that spring already is extremely corroded, and it's been less than 48 hours. If you look inside here, you can see the water. I know you won't be able to see it very well, but the water might look a little brownish or yellow, but it's actually just a dark yellow. That's the acid in the water from the tablets. I warned them at the time I was out here to do the work that although the pool was not very high in chlorine and the other chemicals were balanced well, the way he was overfilling his chlorinator and not running his pump long enough, it was causing the tablets, and here are the tablets right here. You can see the gross amount, the overdosing of tablets. Right now, no more than 2 or 3 tablets are needed for the water conditions we have right now, which are only about 70 degrees. So he was overdosing here in order to try to get the pool chlorinated by running the pump a lot less each day. And what that creates is, because these tablets are so acidic, you just basically get a very strong solution of acid in here. The specific gravity pulls it through the system even though the system's not on, and you end up having that acid water sitting on all the equipment for as long as the pump is off. And when you're only running your equipment about 4 or 6 hours a day, that's about 20 hours a day that your equipment is just taking an acid bath. And you can see what it did to this just within 24 hours. You can see all the rust and corrosion on there, and that's after I washed off a lot of the rust, and I've currently lubricated it to try to preserve the life of this brand new, less than 48 hour old valve key cover. So the importance of knowing what you're doing with chemicals, not only to get the pool water balanced, but also knowing how it's going to affect your equipment, and what you see or what you get as a test results in your pool itself are not necessarily the proper way or the proper chemicals that you want around your equipment and the way that you're treating it. These chlorine towers are the best thing to have, but like anything else, if it's not used properly, then it can cause damage, and very harmful and expensive damage to anything you have here. He doesn't have a heater here. I can't remember if he had one in the past, but a heater would have just been destroyed by this type of care. So what I did, I already made one video, and my camera, it was too large and my camera didn't save it. So I'm remaking this video right here. The first one I shot, I actually did testing and I showed the testing. The alkalinity was extremely below 0, and of course the pH was extremely below 7.0. The customer, when I talked to him 2 days ago, he did not understand how the pool could be perfectly balanced, but he would have any difficulties with the equipment over here. I am going to do one more quick alkalinity test just to show. I'm going to pause the camera so I can set the test up. I'm going to take my sample water from here, which is the water that's actually sitting in the filter. It's the same water that's right here that came from the plumbing. But we're just going to take it from these two right here and fill up the alkalinity tester, and I'll show you the results of that in a second. Okay, I've set up my alkalinity test, and I've got the green indicator is ready to go in next. And when I put these drops in, normally with this test kit, when you do it and you put the green drops in, of course it's going to turn your water green. With this one right here, I'm going to just put one drop in, and it's going to flash immediately to red because of how acidic it is. And you see that red right there? That's 2, 3, 4, 5. With the first drop, we can immediately know that the alkalinity level is well below 0. But I wanted to show you the complete test right there. That's just almost on the color of maroon. It's very much darker red than we get when we use the next indicator, the sulfuric acid, to find out how many drops it takes to get your multiplier for the alkalinity level. And this doesn't need any drops. It's already turned red from the very first drop, indicating how extremely low the alkalinity level is. The pH, like I mentioned, was well below 7.0. Back to the chlorinator for a second. In the previous video I mentioned this. I don't think I mentioned this in this video right now. This customer has a commercial chlorine tower on it. This is really just meant for extremely large pools. As you can see, he just has an average size pool. It's not very deep either. I'd estimate that right now probably around 12 to 15,000 gallons. And there's just no need to have this large a chlorinator. Now, the size of the chlorinator is not what's created his problems, but how many tablets he's put in it. Even a smaller chlorinator, which would be about a third this size, you can create these same problems with if you're putting too many tablets in the chlorinator. Our best advice we give to homeowners, and we make our guys do when they service the pools, some homeowners get upset that we don't fill the the chlorine tower completely full with tablets, and the reason is exactly for this, because the more tablets you have in that tower, the more chance you have to end up creating this kind of corrosiveness. So whether you have a large tower or a very small tower, you do not want to add a gross amount of tablets. And our suggestion is to everyone is that you only put in the tablets that are going to last you to get through that week. And if you're on a routine, let's say, of checking your pool every Sunday, just put enough tablets in that you're going to maintain the proper chemical levels till the next Sunday. And then instead of filling the chlorinator up, and topping it off, you're just putting in enough of tablets that are going to get you through the next week. And that's the best way to properly maintain not only your pool chemistry, but make sure you don't get any acidic saturation in your equipment areas and damage any equipment. This acid is extremely corrosive to all the metals, as you saw with the spraying. It's definitely has affected metals within the pump, and over time it will erode the plastic that makes up your filter grids and the internal parts of your filter. On this one too, he was probably adding more tablets to the chlorinator, thinking he had to. I want to get a shot right there of, you can see the buildup. This is the very top part of the chlorinator. If you're getting that, you probably need to find someone that has better quality tablets to purchase from, or your service company, switch to a service company that uses higher quality tablets. There is a difference. Many of the pool stores do not sell a great quality tablet, and it's not maybe a nationally named or used commercially where it's a higher quality tablet that you're buying from a lot of pool stores, and you'll end up with a lot of stuff that clogs up your chlorinator. This isn't too bad. A lot of times you'll see large blistering and stuff from the sediment that they put in, the fillers they put in the tablets to make up the weight of the tablet. But at the bottom of it, and I already did this on the last video, there should be a screen at the very bottom of your chlorinator. Over time, those will completely disintegrate, and the acid of the tablets will make that little screen sitting at the bottom completely disappear. And when that happens, it needs to be replaced, because that screen acts as a riser over the very bottom hole, and it doesn't allow the chlorine tablets, when you put them in there, to block the hole that's letting the water go through. So of course these towers, whether they're inline or offline like this one is, they require water flow to go through them to wet the tablets, and then the water to also leave the tower. When the tablets sit on one of those holes and clog it up, then you cannot, of course, have any water flow through there, regardless of how well you set your, or how high you set your adjustment gauge right there. It's not going to allow any more water to get into the tower and dissolve those tablets. But it is going to have water in there, and it's just going to be a pool of very corrosive, acidic, chlorinated water. I tell people also about these tablets. They think, oh, it's chlorine. You know, your household bleach is less than 10% chlorine, and you see how damaging it can be to clothes. You take those chlorine bleach, it not only takes the color out of your clothes, but if you pour it directly on your clothes, you'll eat holes directly into the fabric after a couple more washes. This is the same, except it's about 6 times stronger. So chlorine tablets and shock are much stronger than what you deal with as a liquid chlorine in your house, and you want to be extremely careful with it. You do not want to use it the wrong way, whether you're treating your pool. And if you're not sure how to use it, you definitely want to have someone qualified make sure you're doing it right. Because the problem that this customer had is they had no idea about what was going on over here with the equipment due to just not knowing any better. And he was doing a good job of getting his water tested at the pool store and making sure he was maintaining the pool properly. You taking a sample of water from there, you don't take a sample of water from here. No one ever does. But clearly, if you had taken a sample of water from here to the pool, you would see there was something else going on. And that's what it is. So I hope you've learned something today. And if you have any questions, please contact our company. We answer questions all over the world.